Good evening, Deepali. Welcome,
Thank you, Madan.
and
Thank you.
delighted to have you with us on behalf of Thai Bangalore. A huge appreciation. I know it is way past, bedtime in Bangkok, but really appreciate you taking the time, Deepali, to spend to share your thoughts with us on the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet. Uh, so let me just do a quick round of introduction. Of course, Dipali, people who know you know a lot about you in this world, and they don't need much of introduction. But Dipali, for the rest of us, the rest of you who are meeting her for the first time, is the Vice President uh, for Asia for Rockefeller Foundations. He spent over 7 years with Rockefeller, handling various initiatives across the world, and she comes with a very rich experience in the development sector, working on some cutting edge and innovative projects. If I were to read Dipali's introduction itself, that will take a better part of the hour. So, Dipali, let you, without further ado, get you started. Share about the fascinating work that you guys are doing. We have about 15-20 minutes for your chat, and if there are any questions, then I will pipe it in at the end of the session.
So thank you so much, Madan. And, it's great because, you worked your magic and now I'm here. And I very feel privileged to be speaking with everybody who's joined the call today. When the invite first made its way to me, I did wonder if I was the right fit to be speaking to this group of accomplished entrepreneurs. However, the global multiple crisis unfolding in front of our eyes now diminished all doubt. This is the time to forge unlikely alliances and seek partnerships beyond usual players. Business behavior has the potential to influence massive changes. You, the experts on that. As a representative from the world of philanthropy, my task is to offer pathways that are good for the planet and its people. I'm speaking to all of you with a lot of hope and promise, as I know you all will take action, as you've always done. Recently, the temperature reached a whopping 49 degrees Celsius in Delhi. I go through a lot of mixed feelings when I think about what we are leading our next generation into. 49 degrees centigrade in summer is going to be a norm for them, when for us it was the anticipation of eating mangoes on the terrace or cycling in the neighborhood. Now I can only imagine those summers, and the young ones now won't know what a treat it was. Our planet is rapidly decaying. The heat trapped by human-induced greenhouse gases will warm the planet for many generations to come. Sea level rise, ocean heat, and acidification will continue for hundreds of years unless means to remove carbon from the atmosphere are invented. I'm very hopeful when I say that the time is running out for us to prevent the impacts of climate change. There is a solution. There is a lifeline: energy transition. We must end fossil fuel pollution and accelerate the renewable energy transition before we incinerate our only home. Transforming energy systems is the low-hanging fruit. As easy as it may sound, we need to look at it from a systemic perspective. How can we drive systems change that allows us, humans, to pursue the transformation of energy systems? As we know, Asia has founded its economic growth on coal, even though the carbon cost is already evident. However, the pace of change is accelerating in Asia along with the rest of the world. Most notably, investment in energy transition, particularly in renewables, has grown. Asia has an opportunity to leverage learnings from the past decade of energy transition and leapfrog its energy transition journey. There are an estimated 3.5 billion people who have their potential diminished by unreliable or insufficient energy access, predominantly provided by carbon emitting fuels. Providing clean, safe, and reliable electricity is essential to creating jobs and economic opportunities for more than 40% of the world's population, while also combating a rise in temperatures and sea levels that is endangering the world. this is where our experience has shown us that energy transition is core to success. Decentralized, digitized, data-driven technologies have much to offer to centralized power providers, including a comprehensive access strategy for unelectrified rural populations. It all started a decade ago when the Rockefeller Foundation made ending energy poverty in a clean, sustainable way a top priority. Because low carbon and climate resilient asset classes are largely underserved by public and private capital markets, climate risks are often ignored or underplayed by decision makers. Massive investments in renewable energies are needed to connect the more than 800 million energy poor people around the world to the modern economy. We're also working across the foundation to bring market-driven solutions that reduce emissions while creating jobs and wealth-building opportunities for those that have been shut out of economic progress, bearing the brunt of the economy and dealing with the aftermath of the pandemic. In April, I was in India visiting small business owners who've truly rewired the path their lives were on with access to energy. I encourage you to look up the work of OMC Power in Uttar Pradesh. The battle against climate change cannot be won by a small subset of countries or by partial efforts. For this to be a truly urgent and global effort, an accelerated energy transition must serve as an on-ramp for human opportunity. Until 2021, this has not been the case. At COP26, we announced a Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet, which I refer to as the Alliance. The Alliance will deliver transformational programs that will accelerate and scale an equitable energy transition in developing and emerging economies. Over the next decade, the Alliance aims to unlock $100 billion in public and private capital and tackle three profound human problems simultaneously. The first one being power, which means reaching 1 billion people with reliable, renewable energy. Second one around climate, where we want to be really ensuring that we can avoid and avert 4 billion tons of carbon emissions. And the third one around jobs, which is galvanizing opportunity by creating, enabling, or improving 150 million jobs. A critical commitment we made is to apply the lens of just transition and gender equality to our work in jobs and livelihoods. This alliance has set out a global call for transformational country partnerships, inviting developing and emerging economies to apply for technical support and funding to advance ecosystems of clean energy projects. With these partnerships, we propose to work in lockstep with national governments to design and align the constellation of support. We really want to be working where the governments are in terms of their own assessments of their needs. We aim to offer catalytic capital that can unlock investment from private markets and innovative financial instruments. Alliances, coalitions, and public-private partnerships have been indispensable to the progress we've achieved thus far and will be for the future. This is where the audience today can step up and offer their valuable partnership. The Global South needs to break out of their silos and start collaborating with each other across sectors and domains. Whether more initiatives like the Alliance are launched in the coming year in the Global North is anybody's guess, but there's much to gain from South-South cooperation. As the developed nations commit to do more, pay more, the Global South has an opportunity to promote and strengthen collective self-reliance amongst developing countries through the exchange of experiences, pooling, sharing, and use of their technical and other resources, and the development of their complementarity capacities. A personal priority for me has been to galvanize action to support countries and communities on the front line of climate change, alongside cutting emissions, getting financing flowing, and fostering collaborative action. But none of this can really happen unless we acknowledge and act on the disproportionate and gendered impacts of climate change and enable women and girls to participate in education, the economy, leadership, and decision-making. As we make strides towards SDG 7 of achieving universal energy access by 2030, looking at energy access through a gender lens becomes increasingly important. Women are underrepresented in the energy value chain, both at the policy and decision-making levels and in the workforce. When moving towards sustainable forms of energy as drivers of economic, low carbon growth in developing countries, the role of women must be part of this conversation. We have observed that greater participation of women in the energy value chain can lead to greater access to energy, including women as key stakeholders in shaping the renewable energy value chain, will help the design, production, distribution, and sales of sustainable energy technologies. For example, in Odisha in India, a network of just 120 women, known as Bijli Didis, collect bills and address consumer concerns. As a result, an additional 8,000 customers started paying bills on time, and over 1,250 houses and 300 businesses got connected to the solar grid. I believe that gender equity is both a necessary condition and a strong catalyst to combating climate change. Time and again, we have seen examples of women being left behind by the world's response to new challenges. This pandemic was no different. Globally, women have lost jobs at almost twice the rate as men, making up 54% of overall job losses, despite accounting for 39% of global employment. At the decision-making levels, the situation gets bleaker. Currently, only 20% of parliamentarians in Asia Pacific are women. It is pivotal that women representatives are included and consulted to advocate for policies with a gender lens to design climate mitigation or adaptation solutions. Gender-sensitive recovery strategies will be critical in building inclusive growth. Therefore, we must bring gender considerations from the margins into the mainstream. I will conclude by reinforcing that the challenge of scaling up investment in clean energy access is not new, but the urgency is. The tools are finally at hand. The time to act is now. We are committed to collaborating with entrepreneurs, global investors, international organizations, and governments, and focus on driving historic public-private investments in infrastructure that accelerates access to clean, safe, and reliable renewable energy across the globe. We are envisioning a world in which each citizen has an access to modern healthcare services, and every opportunity for enhancing the well-being of excluded communities is a priority. We have a climate resilient world far more insulated to the systemic shocks that are likely to be a defining feature of the century ahead. This is really our future. We have the best minds and the strongest commitment to bend the climate curve, investing and working together to support the solutions that provide power to the people and communities that need it the most, while protecting our planet is the only way to go. Thank you, Madan. Madan, are you still there?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now, Madan.
Okay. There's always Murphy's Law that is lurking. I suddenly got muted and couldn't unmute myself. But Deepali, there was such a stirring call for action. And especially I love the way that you're thinking about bringing the whole ecosystem together, governments, civil society. You touched upon a very important aspect, of course, entrepreneurs and the gender and the women into the play. The Odisha example was fantastic. So I have a couple of questions, especially from the group here. One is, as an entrepreneur, uh, how do I engage with the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet? What is it that I can do is one. And two, I'm speaking from a larger entrepreneurial ecosystem. Uh, if we were to galvanize the Thai Bangalore and the larger Thai ecosystem, what are one or two things that you suggest, or the ways in which we can start doing it? Because I think every other entrepreneur I meet is clearly aware that, listen, I want to work in the clean energy, in the clean tech space, and that is, it's already become a movement. So how do we join forces together? Any specific suggestions, Deepali?
That's a great question, Madan, and we'll kind of brainstorm together on that. I think that there are several ways that entrepreneurs can get involved. I think, one of the things is that we've seen, at least if you look at really the grassroots level entrepreneurs, where we are seeing through the work that we are doing through the Alliance, they're able to get access to reliable energy, and they're able to really diversify their enterprises, get new enterprises, and really now be able to hold somebody accountable, because you have the private sector players who are really providing through their mini grids renewable energy to these customers. So I think at a very, very fundamental level, that's the first order where, you can really hold somebody accountable to provide electricity, not 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning, where you can't really run your enterprise, but really at a time when you need it. So exactly. I think that's an important piece. The second piece is really, so, how are you really going to be creating more jobs? So when you look at the three goals that we have, the first one being that we really want to be providing access to energy. So, if the entrepreneurs are really working in that space, then that's a sure area where we can really start looking at, where and how. For example, in the case of India, we're working in several states, UP, Bihar, Jharkhand. There's work that's also happening in the Northeast now. And for example, when I look at the Global Alliance for Mass Entrepreneurship, GAIN, there again, you work in the Northeast, there's work that's happening over there. So obviously there are automatic synergies when it comes to the energy access piece. The second piece is around reducing carbon emissions, where our goal is really to get to 400 billion tons. Now, there again, entrepreneurs are really interested in working in that space, whether they're innovative ideas that they have, whether they're new adaptations of technology that they bring to the table, all that really becomes really important for the Alliance. And the next piece is around jobs, where we want to be creating 150 million green jobs. That's where the entrepreneurs can really look at this as an important market, where how do you get the young people in these remote parts really trained to look at now avenues and opportunities that weren't really coming their way in the past. Why should we have mini grids being run by folks coming from Delhi or Lucknow to come in? Why can we not train the local young people over there? So I think, when you look at these three areas, I see clear pathways of where and how entrepreneurs could get involved. I think more broadly at a strategic level, when you ask the question, right now, we went through this open call for country proposals. We have 5 countries where we are aggressively pursuing work. So South Africa, Nigeria, I think it's DRC. These are the 3 in Africa. And here in Asia, we're looking at India and Indonesia. So I think, we're more than happy to share the work that we're going to be teeing up. I mean, in India, of course, it's continuation of the work that we are doing through an entity that we seeded, which is Smart Power India. But again, there's a lot more work that we want to be doing around solar rooftops. And that's, again, where the MSME sector can really start partnering and really forging alliances, because that's another area where there could be strategic partnerships. So I'll leave it at that, but I do feel, Madan, there's ample opportunities of really kind of joining forces and seeing where and how we can be collaborating more effectively, because at the end of the day, the entrepreneurs are interested in impact and results of the ground. This is what the Alliance is also trying to do. So how do we really harmonize our efforts and see what each stakeholder is bringing to the table, and really ensure that, we can be working together would be something that would be really exciting.
Excellent. No, I think this is, in my mind, this conference is to bring along like-minded people to start off a conversation and make sure that we are able to take it along. I'm glad that Deepali, you found the time to share your thoughts with us, and I'm sure this is just the beginning of a conversation and a partnership. Look forward to working with you, the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet, to try and figure out how we can make a difference in the lives of the people and of the entrepreneurs that we work with together. So with that, Deepali, thank you so much again from all of us, and wish you more power as you bring clean energy to the world.
Thank you so much, Madan. Really a privilege to be talking today. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Thanks, everybody.